Are you serious? Are you serious? Can I get the camera right? Oh, that's better. What? President Donald Trump's found guilty. Tucker Carlson has found a home at Twitter. What does this all mean? Let's put a shout out right now for www.noblegoldinvestment.com. That's www.noblegoldinvestment.com. Gold is hot. You know what? It's expected that gold is going to rise past its height, its all-time high of $2,069 an ounce. Matter of fact, Bank of America thinks it will go as high as $2,200 an ounce this year. Well, you got the high inflation, high interest rates, frustration, inconsistency in the economy. Is it a recession? Is it not? Bank runs, inconsistent, banks failing, this kind of stuff. People are nervous. And stock market's up and down. You might want to check with noblegoldinvestment.com. That's www.noblegoldinvestment.com. Or pick up the phone and call them at 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347. And let them help you strategize with you with your 401k or your IRA or your retirement funds. So Tucker Carlson, matter of fact, let's just hear what Tucker Carlson basically had to say. Right? We can hear, right? No? No, we can't hear. Give me 1 second, everybody. We will hear. Tucker Carlson was fired at Fox, and he's just announced that he's going to be joining Twitter. He's taking his show to Twitter. Let's check it out.
Television or read the New York Times is in fact true in the literal sense. It could pass one of the media's own fact checks. Lawyers would be willing to sign off on it. In fact, they may have. But that doesn't make it true. It's not true. At the most basic level, the news you consume is a lie of the stealthiest and most insidious kind. Facts have been withheld on purpose, along with proportion and perspective. You are being manipulated. How does that work? Let's see. If I tell you that a man has been unjustly arrested for armed robbery, that is not, strictly speaking, a lie. He may have been framed. At this point, there's been no trial, so no one can really say. But if I don't mention the fact that the same man has been arrested for the same crime 6 times before, am I really informing you? No, I'm not. I'm misleading you. And that's what the news media are doing in every story that matters, every day of the week, every week of the year. What's it like to work in a system like that? After more than 30 years in the middle of it, we could tell you stories. The best you can hope for in the news business at this point is the freedom to tell the fullest truth that you can. But there are always limits. And you know that if you bump up against those limits often enough, you will be fired for it. That's not a guess. It's guaranteed. Every person who works in English language media understands that. The rule of what you can't say defines everything. It's filthy, really, and it's utterly corrupting. You can't have a free society if people aren't allowed to say what they think is true. Speech is the fundamental prerequisite for democracy. That's why it's enshrined in the first of our constitutional amendments. Amazingly, as of tonight, there aren't many platforms left that allow free speech. The last big one remaining in the world, the only one, is Twitter, where we are now. Twitter has long served as the place where our national conversation incubates and develops. Twitter is not a partisan site. Everybody's allowed here, and we think that's a good thing. And yet, for the most part, the news that you see analyzed on Twitter comes from media organizations that are themselves thinly disguised propaganda outlets. You see it on cable news, you talk about it on Twitter. The result may feel like a debate, but actually the gatekeepers are still in charge. We think that's a bad system. We know exactly how it works, and we're sick of it. Starting soon, we'll be bringing a new version of the show we've been doing for the last 6.5 years to Twitter. We'll be bringing some other things too, which we'll tell you about. But for now, we're just grateful to be here. Free speech is the main right that you have. Without it, you have no others. See you soon.
So that was Tucker Carlson and his announcement that his show will be airing soon on Twitter. Very interesting. how that's going to play out. Of course, he had a non-compete with 2 years left on his contract at Fox News. In other words, he would had no voice. He would have to be quiet, sit down, couldn't work for no one else, and just collect a paycheck for the next 2 years, a paycheck that was worth $35 million a year. He's willing to walk away from $70 million to go work for Elon Musk with his show on Twitter. Why? Because he understands that if we're going to have freedom, we have to have freedom of speech. Speaking of freedom and freedom of speech and a republic and democracy and what have you, President Donald Trump has been convicted, found guilty, I should say, of sexual assault. Let me give me one moment here, and I will pull that article up for you. This has just been announced in the last 2 hours. It has to do. Just give me 1 second here, guys. Okay. It has to do with this an old case, a charge against him back in 1996 that went to trial. It didn't go to criminal. It was not a criminal trial. It was a civil trial because the statute of limitation had long passed. But it is a civil. Excuse me. Here we go. U.S. jury finds Donald Trump sexually abused E. Jean Carroll. The jury has awarded Carroll $5 million in damages in the civil lawsuit accusing former presidents for sexual abuse and defamation. Donald Trump, according to the court, has found him guilty of sexually abusing a writer. Her name is E. Jean Carroll back in 1996. And then defamed her by branding her a liar. The United States jury has decided delivering a very strong legal blow to the former U.S. president as he seeks re-election in 2024. The verdict was read out loud in a Manhattan federal court this afternoon, just about 2 hours ago, after the jurors began deliberating following a 7-day civil trial. Carroll had accused the former U.S. president of sexually assaulting her in a New York City department store in the mid-1990s and then defaming her by dismissing her story. So the 9-member jury has determined today that the ex-president of the United States did not rape Carroll, but they did find him liable for sexual abuse and defamation. According to the New York Times, according to CNN, according to other U.S. news outlets, the juror, according to Al Jazeera, according to others, awarded the former LA magazine columnist $5 million in compensation and punitive damages because this was a civil case. Trump will not face a criminal trial. Because that's past the statute of limitation. So, Trump has been found guilty, and Tucker is going to Twitter, and a tornado tore up through Indiana, and a wildfire is burning completely out of control in Canada right now. In Alberta, Canada, there's mass evacuations going on up there as there's an incredible wildfire burning out of control. Alberta, Canada. It's strange. And it's wow, and they've evacuating a lot of people to try to save their life. And then did you see the King Charles III, his coronation ceremony? During that coronation ceremony, what looked like the Grim Reaper walked across by the door, and it's caught on camera. It's really freaky, folks. They know this is weird because there's no way once the coronation program began, nobody is going to walk across the aisle during this entire 2-hour ceremony at Westminster Abbey. and the crowning of the new king. No one's crossing that. No way. But NCAA, I don't know who it is, but it's somebody. Oh, man. Anyway, I guess I got an important call I got to get. So just watch what's going on. A lot of things are happening. Big things are happening. A wildfire in Canada, the Grim Reaper, seen on film, crossing Westminster Abbey, literally crossing by the doors on the camera. It's freaky. This is really freaky. Trump's been found guilty, and Tucker's going to Twitter. All these things are happening. Everybody stay focused. We're in the last days. What's going to happen next? Are you serious? Are you serious? Did I see the Green Reaper? Did we see the Green Reaper?